morning, another car chat. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I just wanted to put it out there because it's kind of come up recently a little bit, and it's I think of value. There's a principle in the Bible where the wicked lay a snare out for the righteous or the just. None of us are really righteous unless we're in Jesus Christ, right? Of course, none of us are just either unless you have Jesus Christ. But so the wicked lay out a snare for the righteous, and the principle is that they end up being taken up in their own snare. And let's be honest, this is exactly true. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical net. It doesn't have to be a physical snare. It's in a lot of ways in our lives, the way we would apply it is more of a metaphorical thing, where you lay out a trap for somebody. You say, "I'm going to do this." It's the same principle as I think it's in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, where it talks about whatever they thought to do to the other person, if they're caught lying, whatever they thought to do to the other person will be done to them. So if you lie and the penalty would have been death for the person, then you yourself would be put to death, or whatever, and that's the principle. The principle is you get caught in your own snare, and there's a truth to that. You can call it karma. That's what the world would call it. But God says it in His Word, and His Word is true. And we just need to understand that. When you lay out a snare for somebody, when you lay out a plan through deception to hurt somebody, often God's going to turn that around on you. And you're going to end up being hurt by the same thing that you had planned to hurt the other one with. For example, if you read the book of Esther, there's a good example right there. Haman thought to have the Jews, Mordecai and would have been Esther as well, hanged on the gallows. Well, when the whole thing was over, who was it that was hanged on the gallows? The very gallows that were built for the Jews, Haman himself was hung on. You can look at Daniel in the lion's den. The wise men decreed that whoever speaks against or whoever talks to a god other than King Darius would be thrown in the lion's den. Now, it's interesting in that one because it's the law of the Medes and the Persians, and God honors that law to the letter, because it turns out the law says that they have to be thrown into the lion's den. There's no mention of the fact that they have to be eaten. So, because, obviously no one's going to say, well, they have to eat because, obviously you throw them in with lions, the expectation is that the lions are going to eat you. And, so they throw them in the lion's den, and nothing happens because God shuts the mouths of the lions. He allows all of it, but there's no decree that they have to be eaten. So God allows all of it, and then saves Daniel. Daniel is saved because the angel of the Lord comes down and shuts the mouths of the lions. But when however many wise men there were, when the wise men were thrown in, they were devoured. So the trap they set for Daniel got sprung on them. And I really wanted to sit and think about it. I'm sure I could come up with a few more examples. There's examples throughout the Bible of these things. But that's two clear-cut examples of what happens when you lay out a net for the righteous. Now, was Esther necessarily righteous? Well, I mean, I don't know that I remember reading about her ever praying. She was faithful. She was faithful enough to go talk to Mordecai and to do what was right. I don't know that I mean, obviously we know Daniel prayed all the time, so we know he was right. We know all about his works. But the righteous here are the innocent. So I guess the bottom line of what I'm trying to say here is just be careful. Be careful when you're setting a trap for somebody. Really, you never really have to set a trap for another person. Let's just be honest. You don't have to be deceptive. You don't have to set traps. If you just remain faithful to God, God will make sure that things work out. All things work together for the good of those who, one, love God, and two, are called according to His purpose. So if you just stay faithful, God will work it out. There's no need to be deceptive. There's no need to run away. Just let God be God. Stay faithful. Stay like Abigail in the when it comes with Nabal. Stay like Daniel. Stay like Esther. Stay like Ruth. Stay like all these different people who are faithful. And God worked in their lives to bring them to a good end. All things worked out for their good. So, stay faithful. Trust God. And all things will work out for your good too. Love you guys. Hope you have a good day.